Welcome to Signature Required. It is intended for Tennesseans by Tennesseans. The heart of a Tennessean, the volunteer state, is serve, and we do so largely without self-promotion.
And these are genuine people that get up every day and want to make art, or want to educate the nations, or want to have a heart of love in a way that makes a difference.
Learn from 50 years of experience, take a nugget away, and then go share it with a friend.
Sheila Noone, Communications Manager at MoSH, or the Pink Palace. Welcome to Signature Required.
Yes, it'll always be the Pink Palace, but
Okay.
we're under the umbrella of MoSH.
That's wonderful. Tell me a little bit about where we are today.
Well, today we're sitting in what we call the Deep End Theater, but it used to be an indoor swimming pool.
So wait, I'm sitting
So
where...
I might have to back up a little bit.
Okay, tell me more.
The building we're in is the Pink Palace Mansion, now a museum, but it was built by someone named Clarence Saunders, and he was an entrepreneur. He founded the first Piggly Wiggly. He had worked in a country store. That's the kind of place where you would go in with your list, hand it to the shopkeeper, and they would bring you things. So
Okay.
he created the Piggly Wiggly where you could get a basket, pick your own things off the shelves, go to a cash register, and check out, which is still what we do today.
Wow, he reinvented shopping.
it. So
Okay.
he did really well. He decided to build himself this extravagant, over-the-top mansion. It was going to have a zoo in the backyard, an indoor swimming pool. Unfortunately, he never moved in. He went bankrupt before the house was complete.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But where we are now would have been the indoor swimming pool. So the stage area would have been the deep end, and where we're sitting is the incline.
So this is where we would have been swimming towards the deep end in
If-
this
if
space.
you were, if you knew how to swim, you'd be swimming back here.
Okay, so the Pink Palace, it started as meant to be a personal residence. How did it become what it is today?
Well, he was taking his company public, and I won't get into the intricacies
Sure.
of what went wrong, but he ended up losing everything. He tried to play a few tricks on Wall Street, and it didn't work. He lost everything. The building was still going on. He didn't alert everyone immediately. So the house was continuing to be built in this era, about 100 years ago. And then when the city decided to sell off the land to developers to develop Chickasaw Gardens, which is the neighborhood we're in, keep the house, and it was donated to the city as a museum. So it started as the Museum of History and Industrial Arts, somewhere around 1930.
Wow. Okay, so it started as a personal residence, then became a museum. How did it evolve into what it is today? Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing today?
Sure. Well, along the way, it started as a museum of curious objects of history in the nearby region, and slowly morphed into today's museum, which is we added a planetarium and a giant screen theater in the 70s. It's a distinctly history of Memphis and the surrounding areas and the people, and then the science. So the science, the geology of the area. We have mastodon bones and mosasaur skeletons. Mosasaur is probably the most frequent animal that was swimming in these waters. So a long time ago, during the Mississippian embayment, all of this was underwater.
Well, I got to see, spoiler alert, I got to see right before we did this some of the skeletons and the bones that you
it's
have.
great. There's so much here.
There's some really cool stuff. So if somebody's walking in, they have no idea about the Pink Palace, MoSH, what can they expect to see? Take me through some of your exhibits.
Oh, sure. The first thing you see is our geology exhibits. So you walk into bones, a lot of Charles Darwin drawings and things he would have been looking at in the Galapagos, snake skeletons.
I did see that, and I
birds.
quickly gave it a wide berth. I was
Right.
not interested in
There's
the
a
snake
lot.
skeletons. There was a
Yes.
python that I was like,
Python,
no,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah, moving
But
on.
we also have an evolution exhibit. We have an area that leads you past Tyra, who's our animatronic dinosaur.
Oh, I met Tyra. She's a
Yes,
diva.
She is a diva.
Yeah.
And then we have a lot of geological stuff. So we've got a lot of geodes, and we have a fluorescent room, which is all, black light, and kids really love that room. It's small, but kids really can see how the different geodes and things pick up the light. And that leads you into our dinosaur area. And that is our geology section. And then if you come into the mansion, you start to see the cultural exhibits. So we have, how did Memphis do during the yellow fever epidemic? How did we do during the Civil War? What was medicine like? Memphis has a lot of big medical companies, Medtronic and Smith and Nephew, that make artificial joints and limbs. So we have a strong medical presence here. We have St. Jude, we have Le Bonheur Children's Center. So we do have a strong background in medical arts. So we have some interesting exhibits, a little scary, but it's a great place to really learn the background of the city.
And then you have what would have been an original Piggly Wiggly.
We have the replica of the Piggly Wiggly, which
Going
is
back to
really
your
fun.
roots.
You can grab kind of an old-timey basket and fill that with different things from the shelves. And it's always amazing to me when I visit the Piggly Wiggly how many brands are still around today. The Hellmann's and the Flower and the Borden's and things like that. They're still around today. So we're talking about 100-year-old brands that are represented.
I saw Crisco in there, and it's not PC for me to say, but we still have Crisco for baking in our house. And I saw that all in that Piggly Wiggly.
Yes, it's a lot of fun.
So how many of your exhibits are permanent versus traveling?
We tend to have 3 traveling exhibits a year.
Okay.
Our staff created an exhibit called All Rise, and it's 150 years of the Memphis Bar Association, which might sound dry, but it's actually really interesting. And there's fun sections like, 10 really weird facts about Tennessee law. Can you marry your cousin in the state of Tennessee? But there's some really interesting things in there that you wouldn't expect from a law exhibit. Our mission is to really touch different parts of our community. So from school kids to grown-up adults to maybe teenagers. So we're always trying to look for things that'll bring people in here more than just a field trip.
What are you hoping to get? Is there anything that is that elusive, shrunken head on a traveling?
No. Last year we had Sue, the T-Rex, which was a traveling exhibit from the Field Museum, and that was pretty amazing.
I bet.
But there is also some like an an underground dinosaur exhibit, and that would be really fun. But I don't think we can do that, or underwater here.
Okay.
We don't have. I think the depths of ceilings and
I mean,
space.
you've got a pool
We have a
here,
pool.
Sheila.
We have a
I feel like
pool.
there's an opportunity for water.
Yeah.
So how did you get into this line of work? Did you wake up and be like, I want to have Tyra the T-Rex as my coworker?
I did.
Was that
fell
always
into it, thinking it was temporary during COVID, and loved it. I was in magazine publishing for a very long time, and during COVID, I was talking to the director, and everything was going online, and they just didn't have time to even proofread it because everything had to shift from in person to online. So I said, I have some time. I can just proofread your stuff in the morning. So I would proofread things, and then finally it kind of started realizing we have room for a communications person here in addition to the marketing team. So it just worked out, and I love it. It's such a fun place to work. It's fun to come work in a palace every day.
I bet, especially at Pink Palace. I'd love to get into how people can get involved. Let's say they're not in Memphis, but they're planning a trip, or they really care about how you're trying to invest in the community. What are your goals in terms of fundraising or trying to get involvement across the state of Tennessee? Can you talk about that?
Sure. We rely heavily on fundraising. We have, there's different sources of income here. We have a rental space, so we have weddings and parties and corporate retreats. We have classrooms, so we actually have we have groups like Code Crew, which teaches kids how to code, and they have an office in the basement. But really, we want to get in touch with investors who understand how important STEM subjects are to kids. So there's a lot of opportunities to sponsor a lab. We have a lab called The Greening of Mars. We have a lab it's called BioBuild, about working in industries that help, build the skin and the bones and the artificial implants, things like that. So we like to stress to prospective donors and sponsors, we are really helping with workforce development. So we're helping kids learn, I might like science. I didn't realize that till I went to the Pink Palace and saw how much energy it takes to make a cup of coffee. So we really try to set things up so that there's always something here that's an extension of school. and might be providing something that they're not learning in school.
So since 1968, you have had something called Friends of the Pink Palace. Can you tell me a little about that?
Sure. Oh, it's this wonderful volunteer group. It's primarily women, as it seems to always be. And they get together and they plan special events. They help us. They volunteer for events. So if we have say we're having our Science of Beer event where
I bet that's not popular at all.
Oh,
Come
gosh.
on. Yeah.
It's a huge sellout every
Yep.
year, but they will help staff those things.
Cool.
But primarily what they do is an annual crafts fair, and it's the 53rd year, I think, this year. And it's the only juried crafts fair in Tennessee, which means people send in an application and they have to be chosen
Oh, cool.
to be there.
So who chooses it? Is it the Friends
It's
of the Pink
Friends.
Palace?
They have a panel.
Oh,
So-
so you
and
maybe
it's-
send them a gift basket of your craft products. No,
Yes.
no nepotism.
Well,
No.
we want to avoid it. It's not a flea market where people
Sure.
might be able to mass market things. It's true artisans. So we have woodworkers, and we actually have a place at the crafts fair where woodworkers can demonstrate what they do. There's a broom maker that can demonstrate how they do that. They make brooms. There's knife forgers. There's all sorts of artists. Almost every medium of art is represented in the crafts fair. And it has a really fun festival atmosphere as well. The Friends do a wonderful job. They have live music every day. There was a petting zoo this year. There's this really cute trolley ride that kids can get on and ride around the fair. It's a lot of fun. It brings a lot of people to Memphis. It brings a lot of artists to Memphis, not just local artists, artists from all over the country. And it's a great way also to teach things. We have demonstrations so people can learn what is involved in being a woodworker, what is involved in being a forger.
That's really neat. And you have the perfect grounds for it. I mean, there was meant to be a zoo here.
It was here, but actually we got too big for the grounds. It used to be here on the premises, and now it is in Audubon Park, which is in the center of Memphis.
So you guys really lean into special events and working with the community in that capacity.
We do. Yeah, we have, I mentioned the Science of Beer. We have a trio of events that are very social. It's a lot of fun, but it raises money for our education department. So we have the Science of Beer, the Science of Wine, which is coming up in April, and the Science of Spirits.
Oh, man.
So lots of fun.
If it ain't broken, don't fix
Yeah,
it. You
so
guys
there's-
found your trio there.
You know, you might be able to sample 100 wines,
oh, my God.
but then interspersed with that,
Do you offer free, rides
and
home?
there's designated driver
Okay.
tickets as well. And restaurants come together and donate food and wine. And it's really great, too, because interspersed with that, our education department might have, here's what hops look like, and here's what happens. Here's the process of making beer. So we try to keep it tied to our mission of serving, the STEM community, of teaching the value of science and history, especially in these changing times.
So for people that have never heard of the Pink Palace, what is your mission? What are you guys setting out to accomplish?
Well, I'll read our formal
Please
mission,
do.
if that's okay. Our mission is to inspire discovery through collecting, preserving, and interpreting the cultural histories and natural sciences that shape our region. So it gives us a very clear-cut path. If it has to do with our region, what built it, what our future is, it's part of our mission. So we like to connect different communities, have events, as diverse as a bebop story time, which is coming up. We have jazz performances. So we try to make sure that we're connecting to every different part of Memphis. And one of the things I love about this museum and its importance to the city is most people were here as kids. So they have wonderful memories of coming here, maybe on a class trip or with their grandparents or with their parents and seeing things. And while probably 80% is the same as when they were kids, we love to surprise them with something else to think about. One of my favorite things to keep in mind is, we don't tell people what to think, but we want to give you a lot to think about.
Oh, I like that. We don't tell people what to think, but we give them a lot to think about. So for you personally, while working at this museum for, you said 4 years, right? Since COVID, almost 5. What do you think has kept you coming back day in, day out? What makes you excited to walk in through those doors and
Right.
say hi to Tyra and do the thing every day?
Well, first of all, it is wonderful to work at a palace. It's just a fun place to come every day. The building itself is probably about 100 years old. It's been a museum for 95 years. And there's just so much here. I feel like it's like going to Graceland. Like no matter how many times I go, there's always something else I think, did I ever see that before? So our museum is full of, little corners and tucked away spots where you could really discover a lot. I'm a transplant to Memphis and I love the city. And to me, working here is just this wonderful way to give back to the city and discover all of its little secrets and histories.
Because you have a ton of field trips. I mean,
We
did I
have a
hear you
ton
already
of
had
field
3 field trips here
3
today?
There are days we've had between 300 and 700 kids here. So those days are amazing. The energy in the building is fantastic. The building really comes alive when it's crowded.
Are there any stories you would like to share or personal anecdotes about kids that have come through?
The one that comes to mind is last year we had an exhibit called Sue the T-Rex. And there was a boy from New Jersey who had traveled to 4 different museums to see the exhibit. And his family was wonderful. They accommodated him. They lived in New Jersey, and the exhibit was in Jersey City for a long time. But he estimated he had been to the exhibit 100 times. So it's really fun to see when kids really dig in and start to love history and love discovering science and history.
I love that. Well, we play a game with everybody that comes on the podcast.
Okay.
I promise it's not a scary game. It's a fill in the blank game. And so I'm going to read a sentence to you, and I'm
Okay.
going to have you fill in the blank. Memphis history is unique because blank.
Memphis history is unique because of the richness of the people here. We have such an amazing history in the arts and culture. Music alone, you could spend a month in Memphis and discover different places to hear music, who made the music, why, how did it develop. We have so much culture and music, and yet we're a very accessible city. We don't have the traffic of other cities. We don't have the congestion that can maybe hold people back. Like you can come to Memphis and really go anywhere you want to go at any point and get in.
I really appreciate you saying that because everyone thinks of Nashville as Music City. And I'm not knocking my hometown, but at the same time, Memphis is rich heritage of all different types of music.
Yes.
I
From
just
Beale
don't, it
Street
can't
to
be
Stax.
forgotten.
Right, exactly. So much started here.
That's great. One exhibit that everyone should see at MoSH is blank.
One exhibit that everyone should see at MoSH is our natural history exhibits. They're our permanent collection, but we're constantly tweaking it. So we're trying to keep it up to date. But it's so important to understand, where we come from as people, what our ancestors may have looked like, and also the natural history, like things like tornadoes and hurricanes. We're actually on a very large fault here in Memphis. We've been fortunate not to have an earthquake, but we have so much to read about that would help us guide the city through maybe what would happen next if there was something like that.
I do want to ask you about your volunteers here at MoSH. We had the most wonderful time with Jenny, and she was showing us all through the exhibits and helping us not miss the big things. Tell me about the power of volunteerism here.
Oh, it's so important. The power of volunteerism is really the power to open our doors. We are a huge mansion, and we have several properties. So we really wouldn't be able to function without our volunteers. They provide the local color. We can open the doors and turn on the lights and provide all the exhibits and plan the different events. But our volunteers really help us fill in the gaps maybe with our events. They're there to provide their special knowledge of the place and Memphis. And we have plant sales. And we couldn't do our plant sales without our volunteers. They help us propagate local plants. They water our plants. They're passionate. So one of the things I think is best about our volunteers is how passionate they are about our causes and our interests and our mission.
This museum is a really special place. You can tell by the pink stone on the outside and the beauty of the grounds. And then you walk in and everyone is so warm and so willing and ready to show you all of the gems, metaphorically and literally,
Right.
that you guys have on display here. And it is such a homey place to learn so much. It is
is.
bookish,
It
but with a lot
is.
of heart.
Exactly. Thank you. You summed that up perfectly.
I'm so glad. Thank you for being here,
Thank
Sheila.
you.